BRICS, expansion and Japan's latent leadership in a torn Indo-Pacific. 4 ASEAN countries, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam and Thailand, have broken rank from past trends and applied for BRICS membership. Global discussions about the motives behind these decisions fall into 2 camps, those that are concerned and those that are not. The concerned believe that increased interest in BRICS within ASEAN signals waning support for the Western-led international order and growing traction for a China-led alternative. The unconcerned see this alignment as typical ASEAN hedging behavior. Both camps readily offer explanations for the potential motivations and outcomes behind ASEAN countries' decisions. But what most of these discussions fail to consider are the limited choices ASEAN was presented to begin with between the Western-led institutions and BRICS, as well as the need for a simpler alternative. To this end, a Japan-led coalition would provide a viable solution, one that supports the existing international rules-based system without appearing to take sides. With China and the United States being perceived as less reliable partners for ASEAN, one of the only ways to remain neutral yet active in the global arena is to further commit to their increasingly esoteric multi-alignment strategy, which partly explains Indonesia's and Thailand's move to join both the OECD and BRICS. Yet this method of appearing neutral is not without its risks. In December 2024, then US President-elect Donald Trump floated the idea of imposing steep tariffs on BRICS nations unless they commit against creating a currency that could rival the US dollar. Now inaugurated, it is with little doubt that the second term of the Trump administration signals a period of greater uncertainty for the United States and its role in the world. With such rhetoric intensifying, the stakes of siding with either or both parties will likely only continue to rise. But this need not be the case. Japan could offer Southeast Asia a third option. ASEAN countries consistently rank Japan as their most trustworthy partner, yet Japan remains less influential than it should be. Japan's leadership in finalizing the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership in 2018 was a watershed moment for its regional role. In the security realm, ASEAN countries remain conspicuously silent on Japan's remilitarization, with some actively welcoming the prospect. These signs suggest that ASEAN and other Indo-Pacific countries may want a more vocal Japan. Though Japan played a big part in enabling the United States to exert influence over the region, their approaches still differ in key areas. Unfortunately, there is no easy way for countries to signal their support for Japan's ideals separate from US policies. Even Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's idea of an Asian NATO continues to package Japan with the United States. With Trump now in the White House, Japan faces mounting pressure to take independent leadership in the region. To do so, Japan should consider building an open invite coalition with a clear agenda that will recognize and support the existing international rules-based system, which is being challenged by both BRICS members and the United States. It should also be willing to uphold or rebuild institutions that are at risk or have already been gutted or undermined, like the World Health Organization, the International Court of Justice, and the World Trade Organization. In this regard, Japan brings strong leadership credentials. Beyond the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, Japan played a pivotal role in establishing the Asian Development Bank, introducing the Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy, and spearheading the Asia Zero Emission Community. Countries caught between the United States and China have widely supported these initiatives. ASEAN countries already largely agree with Japan's Free and Open Indo-Pacific Strategy and align on areas where China and the United States fall short, particularly regarding the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the International Court of Justice. Australia also differs from the United States in its embrace of free trade agreements. Through the Pacific Islands Leaders Meeting, Japan maintains close ties with Pacific Island countries who, through their 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, collectively support the International Court of Justice and the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. What Japan still lacks is a larger alliance that brings its like-minded friends together. Japan has tried to unite partners through forums such as the G07 in Hiroshima or the OECD. But as trust in the members of these platforms falter, solely relying on this approach may not be sustainable. By creating a platform akin to BRICS, Japan could provide a much-needed alternative alliance for countries to unite behind. Keeping the coalition informal would allow more opportunities to build momentum and meaningful consensus through dialogue. Such a grouping would be instrumental in pushing back against the destructive nature of great power competition. To be clear, the goals of BRICS are not necessarily undesirable, but even if a multipolar or de-dollarized world is to be sought for, law-abiding or good-faith actors should pursue these changes peacefully through existing international rules and institutions. Japan has proven itself to be an ardent supporter of international institutions that provide peaceful methods of resolving conflict. In Asia, Japan stands alone as the sole actor that has amassed the necessary political capital, regional understanding, and capacity to take on a leading role in bringing like-minded allies together, rather than solely supporting US-led initiatives. This coalition would provide an urgently required platform for those that wish to uphold the principles of international law without taking sides in major power rivalry. ECC greenlights purchase of $582 million in capital shares in BRICS's new development bank. The Economic Coordination Committee has greenlighted the purchase of capital shares worth $582 million in the new development bank, with $116 million as paid in capital. The ECC approved Pakistan's membership in the new development bank, established by BRICS member countries. The committee endorsed the purchase of 5,882 capital shares in the NDB, amounting to $582 million, with $116 million as paid in capital, the finance divisions said in a statement. Established in 2015 by BRICS countries, the NDB is a multilateral development bank aimed at mobilizing resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in emerging markets and developing countries. BRICS, the group of major emerging economies comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, aims to accelerate its push to reshuffle a world order it sees as outdated. Pakistan had applied for BRICS membership last year in November. Pakistan, as a developing country and an ardent supporter of inclusive multilateralism, believes that it can make important contributions in this grouping, FO spokesperson had said. During today's meeting, the ECC also approved the incorporation of an international joint trading company in Singapore, formed by Pakistan State Oil and the State Oil Company of Azerbaijan Republic. It instructed the Ministry of Petroleum to ensure due diligence regarding specific investment approvals, particularly equity injections, as well as the timeline for the operationalization of the company. Besides, it approved a proposal from the Ministry of Commerce regarding the inclusion of PCT-HS codes for newly notified mandatory items of the Pakistan Standards and Quality Control Authority in the Import Policy Order 2022. The decision incorporates specific PVC and polymer-based products into the mandatory regulatory framework, ensuring compliance with Pakistan standards. The ECC also okayed the transfer of shares of Discos in the name of the President of Pakistan, as proposed by the Ministry of Energy, subject to confirmation that it would have no financial implications. To ensure financial support for key initiatives, the ECC approved technical supplementary grants, including Rs 19.15 billion under the Finance Division for 133 PSDP schemes of the defunct Pakistan Public Works Department. The funds will now be transferred to respective ministries, divisions, and provincial governments. The committee also approved Rs 5.36 billion TSG for the Ministry of Housing and Works to execute development schemes under the SDGs Achievement Programme, with Rs 4.225 billion allocated for Sindh and Rs 1.11 billion for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It approved Rs 1.914 billion in favor of Nadra for the Fatia TDP ERP project, ensuring the transition of 43 citizen facilitation centers in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The allocation has been surrendered by the Economic Affairs Division and recorded under the Interior Division, with no additional financial burden on the government. The ECC also approved Rs 500 million for the Ministry of National Health Services, regulations and coordination for the procurement of life-saving medicines and vaccines, with the directive to devise a structural solution for future payment of the subject pension. It approved Rs 84 million for the President's Secretariat to replace outdated official transport, allowing for the procurement of 2 Hino Coaster minibuses and 3 Toyota Hiace vans as part of a phased replacement plan. UAE leverages BRICS membership to boost global trade resilience, infrastructure development. The United Arab Emirates is leveraging its membership in BRICS to enhance global trade resilience and drive infrastructure leadership, according to panelists at the World Governments Summit 2025 in Dubai. During a panel discussion on Wednesday, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Chairman and CEO of DP World, and Mohammed Saif Al Suwaidi, Director General of the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development, highlighted the UAE's strategic role in strengthening economic ties within BRICS and beyond. By leveraging our strategic location and advanced logistics capabilities, the UAE is enhancing supply chain resilience and strengthening trade corridors that will benefit economies worldwide, bin Sulayem said. He noted that the UAE has positioned itself as a logistics hub for BRICS by developing multimodal trade routes that cut transit times and unlock economic growth opportunities. We have created new trade routes linking Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Central Asia, significantly reducing transit times. Through strategic investments, we are addressing global bottlenecks and ensuring seamless trade flows, he said. The UAE's inclusion in BRICS presents a unique opportunity to strengthen economic ties, not only through government cooperation but also by engaging the private sector, Al Suwaidi said, underscoring the UAE's commitment to fostering sustainable economic growth through its BRICS membership. At ADFD, we are focused on financing projects that drive sustainable development, especially in sectors such as transport, energy, and infrastructure. These efforts are closely aligned with the BRICS agenda, contributing to economic integration and connectivity, he added. Al Suwaidi also highlighted the UAE's focus on large-scale infrastructure projects, including ports, railways, and airports, which are essential for enhancing trade flows and economic exchange.